I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yes. When you go there, he's the one giving the tour. You'll be capable of meeting him.
Then I probably met him because I took a boat over there, or a ferry. I took a ferry over to Alcatraz Island, and yeah, there was like some guy there who was very knowledgeable about the place. He was like the tour guide and everything else. So that could have been your uncle. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. If it's he's really, I'm gonna actually describe him. He's not because he's my uncle, but out of all of, he had 5 brothers. His brother is Bobby Weir. That's his brother. The one from the Grateful Dead. That's his brother. Because my auntie was the second wife of Bobby's father, because his father and mother separated when he was very little. And basically, so that's his half brother, but of course they're brothers. So out of 5 of them, he's the youngest. He's very, very handsome, has a black hair, around 6'1", around 6'0", 6'1", built and very, so he's now around, it depends what year you've been, but he'll be around 54, 50, 53, yeah. So, but he's the one, he's in a charge of that, but I know all about this, but I'm impressed that you share with everybody about amazing stories of Alcatraz.
Yes, Alcatraz is very amazing. When I walked in there, you get this feeling of dread because terrible, terrible things happen there. Some of the prisoners, they were beaten. There was suicides. There was murders. There's people getting shanked. It was a very violent place. And some of your notables that stayed at Alcatraz were Al Capone. You had George Machine Gun Kelly. You had Alvin Karpis, who was public enemy #1. You had Arthur Doc Barker, and he was one of the mob Barker boys. So, you had the Birdman of Alcatraz. And what was kind of funny is the tour guide knew a lot of the ghostly happenings. And I was asking him, I said, what cells are haunted? And he said that when you go by the cell of the Birdman of Alcatraz, that sometimes you actually hear the sounds of birds. And there's no birds there. So it's the residual energy of the Birdman feeding those birds from his jail cell. That continues on. When Al Capone was there, he was actually visited by one of the victims. Someone that he killed came to his cell, and every single night was haunting him. He was going crazy, and he was yelling and screaming. Wow. And the guards would come over there and go, "What's going on, Al?" And he goes, "So-and-so, whatever the name was, so-and-so is in my cell, and he won't leave me alone. He's driving me crazy." And it was one of his victims that came to his cell and was haunting him every single night. Now, another creepy place right in Alcatraz is the hole. That's if you've been bad, they throw you in there. And they throw you in there naked. And the hole became very, it was a scary place for all the prisoners. They didn't want to go there. And they call it the Oriental Hole. They call it the strip cell. And you were thrown in there naked. And if you had to do number 2 or number 1, all it was a hole in the floor. So the tour guide says that when people go into Alcatraz, they see shadow people. People get touched. There was a woman with us in the tour group, and she said that something pulled her hair. So, yeah, Alcatraz Island is very, very haunted. And a Treasure Island, which is right next to it, real close to it, is also too very haunted. It's haunted by this woman hitchhiker, and when they pull up to her, she vanishes. So they have Treasure Island. I've been to Treasure Island. I've been to Alcatraz, and At one point in time, there was another prison. Well, actually, two prisons I had visited. I visited San Quentin Prison, which is real close to Alcatraz.
I saw it on TV. Never been there, but I know it's one of the really scary places, and was holding some of the most horrible and terrifying criminals from the United States.
Yes, solitary confinement. Freaky Geek, yeah, that's the whole solitary confinement. You know, you can't communicate with anybody. They just throw you in your food. You eat off the ground. Yeah, it's terrible. But also, too, one of the lawyers I used to work with, Sandy Ewing, his wife was the acting warden for San Quentin. Yeah, so I actually got to eat lunch there, and they told us not to make any kind of eye contact with the prisoners because the place was so dangerous. I mean, you make eye contact with someone, they may take it the wrong way. They think you're eyeballing them, and they'll jump you. So you have to be really careful. But San Quentin was another place you felt a feeling of dread. Very haunted place. I got some information from some of the guards over there, and they said that they hear all kinds of strange noises. They hear chains. They hear people moaning. They hear people screaming. Another very haunted place. Yeah. So yeah, that's Alcatraz.
And little Patty here is saying, I heard the library of Alcatraz is haunted also. Do you know anything about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The whole area, that whole island, they see specters walking around the island and everything else. The whole place is haunted. Yes, absolutely. And also too, ghosts are not just confined into a dwelling, but they'll, just like people, they'll walk outside. They haunt the outer perimeters of the building. So yeah, so they're everywhere.
Yeah, that's quite freaky. We have it's called Fort Edmonton Park, and I'm waiting a little bit for weather to be better. And actually, I'm gonna go and do one episode directly from there. And we do have haunted jail there. We do have haunted halls, there's a Freemasonic hall, there's a saloon. It was basically where Edmonton first started, so it's like a pioneer